I can hear you.
You guys can all hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
You guys all hear me out there? Yeah? Loud and clear? Awesome.
Literally.
Literally awesome.
Literally.
How many people went to the bathroom at the SubSummit at one point or another? Should be everybody, I hope. Did you guys see our cool little branding? Yeah, you guys all look awesome here today too. So,
Now we're known as the bathroom guys.
yes, we're the bathroom guys.
Not the intent.
All right, let's go ahead and shoot this thing, all right?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talk a lot. E-com is the path that we walk a lot. From 4 point of views when we're talking shop.
This episode is sponsored by Incense, an all-in-one UGC and influencer marketing platform trusted by over 1,700 brands. Grow yours today by visiting incense.pro.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to today's ASOM Pod. Very excited here to start this event here at this live SubSummit event. I want to start off by introducing all of us here. For those that don't know who we are, we've got John Roman over here. Everyone knows who John is. King of subscription here, BattlBox King, whatever you want to call him here, but he's like the celebrity in here, which is awesome to watch. And if you don't know anything about him, he's got the leading subscription survival box and a hit show on Netflix called Southern Survival. To my right over here, I've got Amir. He is the Prince of Bosnia. He hates
Not
that,
really.
by the way.
He's not.
Not really.
Not really, but that's what we like to call him. He's the branding and experience king. He builds website experiences for people like Billie Eilish, Paris Hilton, LeBron James. So he's got a lot of
BattlBox.
experience. Yeah, and BattlBox
BattlBox.
too. And over here on the right side here, for anyone who may or may not know him, he's the director of Ecommerce at Almost Pride. He's the meat guy. You'll find him as nothing but salad.
Anything but a salad.
Yeah, anything but salad.
Yeah.
Fuck that up, huh?
Fuck that.
All right, okay. And then he's a rapper, funny guy, marketing extraordinaire. And my name is Jimmy Kim. I'm the founder of Sendlane, email marketer, and I'm excited to welcome you guys all here to the ASOM Pod. The ASOM Pod, as you can probably see back on the wall here, is a show about perspective. And the perspective that everyone up here is different in the way that we think about our businesses. We've got a brand, we've got a brand operators, we've got marketers, we've got an agency owner, and I've got a SaaS perspective. And the goal of this pod is all about figuring out how to share that perspective so you can have the learning, especially when you're in different industries, or you might be a SaaS company wanting to learn about brands, or an agency wanting to learn about brands, or whatever that might be. And the goal there ultimately is to do that. So today, guys, as we're jumping on here, we're going to talk about something that I think no one's really talked about yet, but the show title today is Why Go to Events? And let me set the stage here before we jump into it. Is what's really interesting is all 4 of us have different reasons to be here. All 4 of us have different goals to be here. Someone like Bryan, who's never been to a marketing event as much as he goes to his pet show events, has probably been a very new learning. And then we've got the king over here who's walking around here on Golden Throne and whatever, and carrying it around, right, Amir?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Amir obviously is here with his clients and all that stuff. So I'm gonna start off over there, Bryan.
Yep.
Let's talk about events, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about events. What did you think was gonna happen when you came in? What have you seen and what have you felt and experienced? And just give your kind of perspective so far.
Yeah, so I'm treating this more from a connection standpoint, right? Where I'm able to meet people that I normally wouldn't meet. I think COVID really set us back in terms of a connection standpoint from a business point of view. And being able to meet people in person is a lot different than scheduling your 20, 30-minute demos, right, on Zoom. So it's really cool to meet people from the connection standpoint. But then also like takeaways, right? An event like SubSummit that's so massive, you don't know what to go to, what takeaways to bring home, but to come here with some sort of plan, right? Because events to me have always been a way for people to feel like self-fulfilled where, oh, I went to an event and that was like the takeaway, just going to an event, and it's more of like a self-fulfillment trophy case. And very few people will leave with some sort of plan of action, right? So I think the biggest takeaway from me here is no matter what you learn, who you meet, you have to leave here with some sort of plan and execute that plan, or else you've just wasted 3 days and a lot of money.
Now, Bryan, the real question that I have to ask is, as you're walking around here, you've got that brand badge around here, and all the SaaS guys and the agencies are going after you.
Yeah, and like blood, right? Blood, and then the SaaS companies are like sharks.
How should they approach you?
Not with their software. Not with their software, because I think that building the connection's the most important piece, right? And I hate to say this, but there's so many software companies that offer and sell the same thing, and you really want to meet the person and then how their software can benefit you, not what their software does, but how it can benefit you, your position, your company, versus giving an overview of the same thing that other companies have to offer, right? So that's the biggest thing for me.
Got it. All right, I'm going to flip over here to John, right? John, you've been walking around. Every time I walk around with John, he gets flooded by people. They want to talk to him. John, what's your purpose of being here? What do you think about here? You've got your whole team out here today, right?
Yeah, so this is my 8th SubSummit I've gone to,
Big deal.
Which is wild. And it's my favorite conference because of the networking, the relationships that have been built here. So it's...
We're bringing it closer to him.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yes.
One of the big things here is through the years, we've built these relationships with other merchants, right? Other SaaS companies, other agencies. And it's about community. And it's really about the fact that we can all win and someone doesn't have to lose. So there's a lot of open sharing here. We're sharing best practices, what's working, what's not working, from traditional marketing to SaaS providers to agency providers. And that's the value. Another box that's checked for us is just trying to, get a little bit more tactical on that and trying to find some actionable insights, right? One little thing. Last year, for example, I'm not sure where he is. I think he's in a hosted buyer, but Tushar, he runs Refiliate, but he was the CTO of Hello Bello. And they were just talking about the way that they treat their customers and the surprise and delight element. And that was an actionable insight. We immediately went back and it's little tactical things we can take back home.
Oh, very cool. And as you come into these events, John, like you've got your whole team out here. What's the goal? Is it just learning? Is there more than that? Is it team building? What else are you using?
At this point, it's all of the above. So there's 5 of us out here. In previous years, we've brought more. We had multiple conferences at the same time this year. We had to divide and conquer. We're a remote first team. So one of the cool things is this conference ends midday on Wednesday, but we're going to stick around till Thursday. So Wednesday, we'll just debrief. We'll talk about what we learned, what we can actually take home and implement, and then we'll hang out and do some team bonding. Another big thing is vendor management, right? I'm a big believer in there's a difference between a partner and a vendor when it comes to your possible options when it comes to SaaS or agencies. A lot of this trip is managing those relationships, right? I think that's huge.
Oh, that's very cool.
100%.
All right, let's jump over here to Amer. Think about your side, right? He's an agency. He's here. You've got clients here, of course, and friends. But why are you here, and what are you trying to get out of here?
First thing I want to share is something that Bryan mentioned. First SubSummit I came to, I got off the plane in a BattlBox shirt, and I walked onto the SubSummit floor. What a mistake. If anyone is in SaaS space, agency space, walk the floor as a merchant and see how it feels. It's very eerie. You just feel, wow. Yeah, piece of meat in the water among sharks. And
in shark-infested waters.
yes.
That's
but the thing is, for me, was eye-opening. It's like, I don't want to be this. And as I came to the first SubSummit, I didn't have an agenda, like probably many of you. I was like, what do I get out of this? My first thing was, I need to come with purpose. I need to make a plan. The first time I came, I didn't do that. The second time I did. The second time I came, it was spending time with our brands and merchants. The second thing that I love about SubSummit, it's a community. I met so many people since the 4 years ago that have helped us in our journey of the business, whether it's complementing our brands, whether it's complementing our agency, so on and so forth. I met 2 years ago Eric from Sweatpants. John works with them. We have a couple other merchants, and we've been collaborating. And he's a very smart guy, and I've learned from him as I hope he's learned from me. But it's building on that and continuously educating yourself. John and I speak a lot of other merchants. I speak with them a lot, but when you come here, there's certain things that get revealed that you typically don't see on these calls because you're in person. And I was part of that conversation with Tushar. I never met Tushar before. And he was an open book, and I've been friends with Tushar ever since. We never did business, we never did anything like that, but we genuinely became friends that have stayed in touch.
There's 2 takeaways that I take right there. The BattlBox story about you getting attacked. I get that. I think that's a huge takeaway, right? If you're a B2B and you're trying to sell to a merchant, take that story and see how you can apply that, right? I talk about consumer behavior changing because I sell to consumers, but consumer behavior is changing too as businesses purchase too. They want a relationship. They want more than just a transaction. And I think it's going to be a longer sales cycle, but that's the right approach. And you take that approach and you're going to be more successful.
No, and I think what's interesting is, and I'll give you the SaaS perspective, because obviously I go to a lot of events and I go to a lot of different things. And you guys are both spot on, both of these guys on the ends here. A lot of the things about going to events is, I know the desire is to go and get your lead or get customers, but oftentimes it's better to sit back and just have real connection and relationship and talk about things. Many of the people I'll talk to, run into, I don't actually talk about my business. I don't talk about what I do. We just talk about why you're here, what you're doing. We try to catch up. We try to learn something I might have shared. I try to find that relationship side of things, and it's just a touch point. That's what I always tell people. It's a stronger human B2B touch point than a typical cold email or a phone call or whatever it might be. But what I think that's really interesting is that when you get to go connect with humans, and there's a lot of people in this room that I know, people all over this place, and we're not doing business together. We're just friends. We're just people that know each other. And the word of mouth is not always just to get business from a direct lead, but also getting someone to be aware of who you are and being able to get the information shared and given to people.
I'll give you an actual real life example. So I've known Jimmy now for about a year, and we've become friends from conferences, from LinkedIn, from X. And we've gotten to know each other better and better. Obviously, we're doing a podcast now, so we've taken our relationship to the next level. In the 12 months we've known each other, Jimmy has not a single time pitched me on Sendlane, not once. And we were Klaviyo users, and 12 months later, we are having some pain points with Klaviyo, and we're making the decision now to make a change. Guess who we're going to go with?
Sendlane.
Yeah. He never pitched me at all. And our teams on their own connected. They knew their relationship, and it happened naturally and organically. And I think that just speaks to how sales are done now.
Yeah. And it is. It's the change of generation of buying experiences, I think.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that people fail to see, at least on the SaaS side, and we'll jump to goals next, but the biggest thing I see fail is a lot of people are trying to follow old playbooks that are happening. They don't recognize the change in buying behavior. And I'm not talking about the actual end consumer, but you guys are all consumers, and your buying behavior there is no different than your B2B buying behavior. It's starting to change. And the old traditional playbooks are no longer working. Event playbooks are not new, but event playbooks are evolving too. And I think what people are recognizing is, look, we all can go and sign up for a demo, and you can get whatever demo you want and meet whatever AE. But the reason you're at this event, everyone has their own goals. Your job as a business or B2B guy is to find your way to integrate into their goals, to help support their goals, make introductions, to be at the events, host events, pay for events. Because as Bryan has learned, I told him he's like the prince of the ball here, and he can have anything he wants. And if he tells a SaaS company for a demo, he'll do something. It'll probably happen in some capacity or another, and that's something that's really cool. That's interesting as you hear that in the perspective of like how all of us are thinking about this very differently. But it all comes out to one end goal, which is, what is your goals, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that everybody has their own goals when they come into these events. And if you don't have any goals coming to this event, that's probably a problem too. You shouldn't be spending the money at this event yet. You need to be coming with a goal and a purpose. So I have a formula, and I'll start it off, and I'd love to hear what everybody else has. My formula is very simple. I'm not trying to move the world when I come to these events. I actually come with 3 simple goals, 3 takeaways. That's my goal. 3 takeaways to meet 3 different people, create a partnership, whatever that might be. Mm-hmm. I always talk away, and Amir, not this Amir, but Amir, my VP of Partnerships, is here at this event, and we always walk away at the last day and say, okay, what are the 3 things that you got accomplished at this event? Because that's all you can do. As humans, we can't go do 1,000 things and accomplish 1,000 things. You've got to find those 3 things that you walk away, you can go make action behind them and actually go do something. And for me, obviously, it's either a lead or a partnership or some kind of thing that I heard. And also, for me, the second thing is also just shaking hands with my customers. My customers are walking around in this audience, and it's always just great to see them and say hello. Because I'm sure you guys have heard this saying in B2B, but you don't lose a customer you meet in person and like actually have real relationship. It's very small versus a no-name company relationship. I don't care if you have CSM, account manager, it doesn't matter. The human element is what matters a lot. Mm-hmm. What about you? I'm going to go backwards, Amir. What is your goal when you're, as an agency, as a business, what is your business goal as you come through these events?
I mentioned is spending time with merchants, everyone we work with. The other thing is education. I want to go back with an important note to implement something, hopefully for our merchants. And we usually uncover something. Now, That may not be applicable to every single merchant we have, but if it's applicable to 20% of them, it's still a win for me. That's a big thing. But one thing to add to that, and I agree with you about having 3 takeaways because you can't do everything. I think sometimes we overcommit at these events. You have to protect your time and figure out what is going to be of value to your business. My number one value and most important thing to me, and if I don't do it, is spending the time with my brands. That is the most important thing. I can have somebody ready to sign up for a new website. I will rather spend time with my brands because that's more important to me. My existing business and those relationships will always be more important than the new business.
Let me stop you mid-sentence. We're talking about incense, where you could scale your brand using UGC. Videos like this, where you see me, not me, but I think you get the point. Partnering with creators to amplify your voice. What you waiting for? The clock to TikTok? Did you know that they're official partners of TikTok Shop and Meta? They have over 20,000 micro influencers and creators in their platform. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to incense.pro today.
What about you, John?
What was the question?
What are the goals? What's the business goal? Like you walk away from here and for BattlBox, what is the business goal?
Yeah.
I mentioned it a little bit, but do you guys like agree and set early before you guys jump in? Like how do you guys handle this as a team? Because you have a different dynamic. You got 5 people with you. That means that things cost way more money to be here. So you want to find purpose and information there.
Yeah, now to be fair, the team is all on hosted buyer, reimbursement for having the meetings on travel and hotel. So when it settles, it's not that much of an investment. The more investment is the time. No, so when we debrief, we're looking for that, right? We don't have, and we made the mistake years past at conferences of having these big lofty goals. It's very simple, right? It's 3 takeaways, right? Whether it's an actionable insight that we can take to the business and improve, whether it's some sort of efficiency or revenue, to simply a relationship. It's not a lot, and it's very manageable having it very small like that. But those individual goals, simple as they are, can move the needle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we'll jump last to Bryan here. And
Yeah.
Any other things to add there?
I think I like approaching events in general, not just ones like this, with the mindset of acquiring relationships over customers. Ever since we started in our pod, I'm going to give everyone an example. Masterminds. I'm not a big mastermind guy. I think I'm very clear on that. They're very expensive. The takeaways you get from those, you can easily get by simply developing relationships with people in the room you're already in. For instance, stuff that we've all shared together just by meeting each other is probably worth $250,000 over 12 months, if you had to say in regards to signing up for a mastermind. Acquiring relationships and cultivating those throughout the course of the next 11 and a half months before the next SubSummit, right? And using this as a meetup point. But taking those relationships is going to ROI your time here a lot better than trying to treat this as like a 2 or 3 day event to acquire new customers. That's the way I look at it. Acquiring relationships is 10x more important than acquiring customers. And that's how I approach events. That's how I approach life in general. And that's like how I feel about it.
So Bryan, being that you normally are at dog food events,
Yeah.
you're pitching dog food all the time and you're talking about dog food, and coming to this like more marketing centric business event, what has the conversations changed for you? What do you think? Is it that you're changing your mind about how you attend this event? Like, how's that going?
Yes. So when I attend those events, I know John doesn't like this word, but we are an omni-channel company, right? So we're in about 1,200 retail stores in the United States, and we also sell direct to consumer. We have a wholesale and breeder channel. But when I approach those events, I'm just trying to sell my product. That's what the purpose of those events are, right? I'm trying to acquire new accounts, to take on new distributors, to take on our food. So it's more product-based, right? A lot of those shows in order to maximize our volume in certain channels. And here, you have to switch that mindset. I don't even think I've talked about my dog food at all through these past 3 days. So that change of mindset was definitely different, right? Where I'm used to talking about our product all the time and our company and everything that we've been doing over the past, we're fourth generation company. So we've been around since the 1950s. And I'm used to talking about that all the time, right? I just almost went on a tangent there and got everyone hooked. But changing that mindset from product to people.
You want to give them a coupon code?
I mean, not really. I'd rather have them follow the podcast.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't buy his food. Follow the podcast.
Question. We're talking about takeaways. Until today, until now, what is your guys' biggest takeaway that you guys can share that can be a learning point for everyone?
Go.
I'll go. So a couple takeaways. One, earlier today, so we've been on Shopify and Recharge for several years now. Recharge added some new senior leadership to the table. And one big thing is, so we view them as a partner. So I made time to go and talk to the new leadership, meet them face to face, and put a face to the name. I think that's key, right? So it's vendor management, it's partner management. Like that's a huge takeaway and a goal for me.
That's really interesting because a lot of B2B leaders don't show up to these events.
They don't.
Yeah, and it's actually a missing point in what you guys just heard right there. And the fact that having someone with authority from a company does strengthen that relationship. And no offense to any account executives or anybody who's here on this side of things, but the truth is the value of the wait is not there, right?
Yep.
You would agree that?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about you, Bryan? What's a takeaway you've taken away from this event?
I'm actually gonna take it away from a referral standpoint. I came into this with a very open mind, like I said, in regards to there's two main points that our company is heading in, where one of them is going to be moving to Shopify. We're on BigCommerce. I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that, but we can go on and on. So we are transitioning over to Shopify, right? So a lot of new things for me to build relationships with Shopify partners, but then also we're trying to crack the referral code with our company and the old give 30, get 30 method and all that stuff. And I want to say, I forgot, it was John yesterday or someone I'm talking to, and they brought up gift cards and putting an actual gift card and subscription orders and sending those home, right? So that way the consumer receives their package and they get a monetary value item over a percentage off to give to someone and then receive that back. There's a disconnect when you email a refer, right? There's a huge disconnect because now you're relying on the person to send it to someone, right? Type in their email, type in their number. So if they get something that looks like a gift card at Target with your brand on it and the monetary value on it, this is a $50 Almost Pride gift card. Now they're going to be able to hand it to a friend, family. Hey, this is $50 to Almost Pride. There's a lot more value there. So that's like a big refer takeaway that I'm going to bring back home. And literally, I already got some samples ordered last night. So this is like the point I'm talking about, like coming into these things. As soon as you get a takeaway, get on it. Don't open your notebook in 48 hours and try to go through it. If there's something that you can do now when you get something, do it. So I'm going to fly home. I'm going to go into my office on Thursday. I'm already going to have these samples in my office. And now we can start, pick which one we want, put them in the box starting next week. So those are the types of things that you take away, that I took away, and something that you have to really act on, or else it just gets lost and this just becomes another wasted of 3 days.
Yeah. What about you, Amir?
So I was actually in a talk where it was John, Kevin from Beachly, Josh from Play Crate, Juan from Bloomsy Box, and Sarah from Framed.
Yep.
They were on stage and they were talking about really transparently about their businesses. And one of the things when they were talking about churn that Sarah mentioned is she personalizes her boxes. And I started to think about that because she feels or has the data behind it, as you shared, that personalization allows her to minimize her churn.
She has a 4% churn rate.
4%.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So what she does is she puts everyone's initials, custom initials in every single box and makes that their box. And I was like, man, we have a lot of cool subscriptions we work with. Who can I apply this to? And actually, because I spent some time with them last night and they're sitting here, so I'm going to call them out. I'm the chef too. They do amazing subscription box for kids, typically preteen, to make these cool cakes and everything. And they work with some Disney brands. So I was like, wouldn't it be maybe cool if they could, and I don't know, and something for you guys to think about, to have, I don't know, Buzz Lightyear write a little message to a child when he opens up a box. That'd be super cool. Yeah. Now, is that possible? I don't know, but we can put those ideas to the forefront for them to think about. It may not be possible today, but we could try with 100 boxes and see if it's going to stick and then scale from there. But these are like things I'm talking about education. It's like, how do we apply this across the board? And I talked to Josh, I talked to Kevin, I talked to John more than I want to. And
Thanks.
we never really thought about it. It never got brought up. And me, by listening to John again and everyone else, and Sarah was a new voice for me, I was like, man, that's awesome. And something for me to take away, and hopefully for you guys.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of perspective in that kind of thought process there. For me, a lot of the things, my biggest takeaway every time I come to events, for me, SubSummit is really unique because I go to a lot of direct-to-consumer brand events, but I don't go to subscription direct-to-consumer or like that it's not all subscription to direct to consumer here, but like majority of the people are. And it's really interesting to hear what they talk about. Everyone's talking about the challenge that you guys are having, the things that you guys are thinking about. There's more relevance of a SaaS company to a subscription D2C brand than there is to a typical D2C brand, because we've got churn and we've got retention. These are all things that matter, upsells and different things that are all important in business. So for me, my biggest takeaway this year has been really just, I ran a table talk and just talking to merchants and continuing to learn what they need and what they want and desire and how to apply that. And then I'll take that back away as market research to know what I'm doing. And of course, all the other things are great, meeting partners and customers and all that stuff is great. But to me, the market research as for myself and as a SaaS leader, one of the things that I do is it helps me understand where I should be pointing the company over the next couple of years. All right, where should we jump here next? I'm thinking about, let's talk about something a little bit more about what's the favorite thing that you've done in this event? Let's talk about that. I think there's so much that's gone in this event. Just so you guys know, like we kicked it off yesterday morning. Wow, we kicked it off Sunday, but we've been back to back, morning to night, every day. And it's been pretty interesting. But what's your favorite part so far? We're gonna start over here on the end over here.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna bring up the bathrooms here. I'm just really quick because I really got shown up as a marketer with this one. That was not my idea. You'd think awesome. The marketer probably came up with that. I didn't, and it was a really big letdown to start the week here. That was actually John. And then we're talking, right? And this is like where my mind goes crazy. But the mirror idea came, I believe, from John, right?
John, yeah.
It was John. So it's pronounced awesome, obviously. So that whole vision with the mirror situation really opened up my eyes on what could we do in retail and what sort of can we connect our products with using that same sort of like marketing, I don't know, what do you want to call that, like connection. And then we're all standing up here before we went on and we're like, we probably should have connected the bathrooms to the screen behind us. So like you see the same message on the mirrors as up here. But I think my favorite part, honestly, is just like I said, like I'm using that as an example, but being in an environment, I think when we leave here, we're not surrounded by like-minded people for a long period of time. And that's why the building relationships part is so important, because I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go to my team and it's built up of amazing individuals, but a lot of people that don't have my same vision and mindset, right? And it's very hard to be in the same room with people like us here throughout the entire year. So that's been my favorite part, is being around like-minded people that have the same vision and goal, because then you can cultivate these relationships to carry this throughout the entire course of the year.
Very cool. What about you, John? What's been your favorite part?
So my favorite part hasn't happened yet.
Oh.
So I've been to enough of these where I know what my favorite thing is, and it's the Cube Awards. SubSummit puts on an amazing dinner, amazing award ceremony. It's this evening. Reception beforehand. It's just fun, and it's my favorite part every year.
Did you bring your tuxedo?
No.
Hey, John.
I brought a jacket, though.
John, how many Cube Awards have you won?
The most.
A lot.
How many, John?
He knows.
Seven?
7? No.
Seven or 8.
He sends the picture of all the trophies in our group chat. I'm like, I don't even know if I had that many Little League trophies.
Calling him out, putting the picture out.
I'm looking at the
You
picture.
gotta count it out.
Yeah, count it up.
What's your favorite part, Amir?
My thing is the refresh. I know it sounds crazy. I love to learn. I love the education. So for me, it's like coming here, not doing what we typically do every single day and taking a step back. That's probably the biggest one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, Amir. They weren't listening at all.
I know,
They
how
were
rude.
they were counting his.
We
Cube
were
Awards.
counting all his trophies.
The answer is 8.
We had to scroll on the picture because there were so many. All right. My favorite event was actually, I love the after parties. There's nothing better than a human connection that comes with them. Last night we went to not only our customer, but also a great local business here called Gas Monkey. And we got to look at cars, we ate some barbecue, but more importantly, we got to just chat and openly talk to a ton of people. And I really just enjoy that because I feel like that's my like extrovert, like social side of me gets to get that channel. And I don't think I talked about business again last night. I think we talked about cars, we talked about life, we talked about everything else. And we obviously met a couple great brands at the place, and we'll follow up later on. I think for me, going to the after party is just as fun as going in. I guess the cubes are like an after party.
It's an after party.
as well, too.
Same reason we had fun last night.
Yeah.
Tonight too.
Yeah, you just have to have a good time. All right, we've got a couple minutes left here as we think about events here. What other things can we give the listeners here about thinking about? What other things haven't we talked about that are pretty important for the event?
Ask the VIP over there. We're walking around yesterday. John's, let's walk around a little bit. Every 4 feet, someone's like, hey, John.
It's not
That's true.
like
It is
that.
true.
6 feet. 7 feet, someone was saying hi to you. Every 7 feet.
But I think that speaks to, it's just, I've been here so much, right? Like the community at SubSummit is just such an amazing one. And there's a reason it's my favorite conference, right? So many amazing merchants and SaaS providers and agencies come here, but it's just such a good community. And I think that's why it's 8 years of fostering relationships.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
What about any hacks? You got any event hacks, things that you've learned through this event and series that you can go out and teach people to do things? Like what's things that people should be thinking about in order to maximize their event?
It's a great speaker lineup, and you're going to possibly have takeaways there. But I find more times than not, speaking with your peers just randomly throughout the event, whether it's at the nighttime events or just in between sessions, just speaking with your peers, a lot of times you get those little 1 or 2 takeaways of things to implement. It's not always straightforward and during a speaker saying something. A lot of times it's just a random conversation.
So true. And I think like little things too, like yesterday we were actually filming another podcast, and we were talking about now it's summer, so I can talk about it. Like a lot of businesses deal with the summer lull, right? Where there's seasonality at some point in June, July, August, a little bit of September. And we were talking yesterday, and I didn't even think about it like this, but we were talking about John at BattlBox is doing something really cool where they're giving away $25,000, but they're doing it in a way where they're allowing their customers, hey, listen, I forgot when it starts, John, July? Is that right?
It starts last Saturday, but runs through July 15th.
Runs through July 15th. So you have to be a subscriber. So they're not using it as an acquisition piece to get more subscribers. They're giving this an opportunity and giving this away, a chance to win for a current subscriber during the summer months, right? And the moral of the story is there's going to be 50 golden tickets that get distributed in their mission boxes. And those 50 golden tickets, they have an opportunity to submit why they believe they have a chance to compete in the battle games. And the battle games is survival games. Think of like the Survivor show on CBS. And the winner gets 25 grand. So that all cultivates around the summer, right? So you have to, that's a big takeaway that I'm bringing back is you have to give a reason for people to buy. You can't just say that there's a summer lull because there just is. You have to create some sort of like pillar or event in the summer and drive your marketing around that event. And you can't just sit back and say like June, July, and August are like pretty slow for us. They're slow because you're not doing anything. So right. you really have to create pillars and events around those lulls, or else you're just going to be one of the people that sit back and complain about certain months being low, right? But that was a big takeaway for me, right? So now we're going to come back. We do a big July 4th, but a big thing that I'm going to really do is look at the calendar and be like, okay, I need 4 big pillars here. And I want 2 of those pillars, obviously, to be Black Friday and July 4th. Those are our 2 biggest sales. But then the other 2 pillars to go around the months that we're struggling a little bit. And that was a huge piece for me yesterday. And that goes back to just talking to people. So my big piece of advice would just be go up and talk to people. Right? It's a huge, you never know who you're going to run into. You never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah, no, that's great. And for me, when I think about like some of the things that I've observed and learned for me is actually I get to watch human behavior. So again, business to business, B2B side of things, I think about it. I run my own event as well. For me, a lot of my learning has been around what people are doing and watching people do things not like they're supposed to be doing it, but doing the way that they want to do it. And it teaches you where people are thinking about and the differences of like how mentality comes into play when you're coming to these places. So very cool, guys. Anything else to add, Amir? You look like you're about to lean in and say something.
Yeah, just for me, and I share this a lot, and some of you that know me, I don't attribute the success of our agency to myself. I attribute it to people that believed in us when they didn't have to. And that to me has been like the most flattering part of the journey. So I always say, they say hard work and good luck. I said I got really lucky and I decided to work really hard. And it was really nice. But when I see SubSummit, it is my favorite conference, fully transparently. And I don't see it as a conference, I see it as a community. And I said this before at this community event, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to build a brand. Let this community build your brand.
Yeah, that's great takeaway there.
Love that.
There. I love that, man. And when you think about community, and it's not just coming to the events, but it's how you're engaging online, how you're following up, how you're doing things and meeting these people. If it's the only time you show up to this event and that's all you do, it's going to be really hard to really lean into that community as well, as I've been teaching these guys about getting on social, finding those peers. Even though Bryan hates masterminds, join a mastermind. Anything you can do to create that human connection.
So there's a good one. A lot of people actually in the audience, I'm in it. Bryan just joined. It's called Creators Combine. It's basically started from people that went to SubSummit. I literally I see 5 people making eye contact with me right now that are in it. It's a
Don't
great
tell
group.
them.
CreatorsCombine.com.
Yeah, Creators Combine. That's a great place to go.
And it's not $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's it too.
No.
All right, guys, we're wrapping up. We're hitting the time right here. I see this counter time coming down here. Guys, we are the Awesome Pod. As you can see, we talk about perspective. We do a lot of different things that are out there. We're a video first podcast. So you may have heard we've been shooting podcasts. We're out here because we get together intentionally to shoot these. We're not interviewing anyone. We're the only people on here with a host. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever Android lovers go, and everything else. There's plenty of places where you can find us, but we are video first. We ask you to subscribe, share. If you've got some value out of it today or you're curious about some of the other things, we talk about all sorts of different things. Some of the things that we just recently talked about were scaling and Black Friday being on November 29th this year, and you're gonna have one less week, and how you should go approach that this year into the holidays, and so much more there. But you can find us at awesomepod.com. You can subscribe, you can like, and that's a wrap, guys.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
I want to do a quick survey though. Can show a hand just because we shame John all the time. How many people have an Android here? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. There's probably 40 people here. Thank you so much for coming.
I feel attacked.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome to the Awesome Pod, where we talked a lot. E-com was the path that we walked a lot. But now the question is, will you subscribe or not?